Hello and welcome to another episode of the balancemod podcast. I'm HiGPS and I'm joined with... That's when you talk, Captain Red.
Next shit, Captain Red.
Yeah, who sounds like he's sitting on the opposite end of the microphone. And then we also have...
McNam Jam.
Who sounds proper. Who else? We got two
Thankfully.
more. Come on.
Me, Quality, the dude who said he's the best engineer.
Okay, quality count. Okay, and then we have...
Me, Robson.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So this which episode is this? You guys did an episode without me again, or?
This is episode 4.
All right. You see, I'm on top of things. It's not like I just show up and you guys have planned everything. All right. So, what are we talking about today, guys?
On the itinerary for today, we are going to be talking about the Scorch Shot. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bushwacka and the Shahansha as both of a sort of like a dual single topic of adjusted sniper melees. And then at the end, we're going to talk a little bit about the Engipads, which are a special engineer building in a balance mod, which I know you've talked about and shown off quite a bit GPS.
Yep.
And yeah, there's some small thoughts about those, specifically the jump pad that we want to talk a little bit about today. But I think the first thing we wanted to take a look at was the Scorch Shot, which has received 2 nerfs in 2 separate instances in the balance mod since the quote launch in June. Since I believe the first one was a reduced projectile speed, which I don't think we can actually showcase right now since the Scorch Shot isn't changed right now to an idea Robsan has. But if I recall, GPS, you had said the change idea with the projectile speed was to reduce the consistency of double hits.
Yeah, basically, I'm showing it on camera now on the website. So,
Okay.
basically, the problem. I talked to a lot of competitive players about this, and the issue with the original Scorch Shot is that you can basically just spam it and just keep enemies on fire constantly, thus negating heals from the heal beam, right? Because you heal less. The projectile is in the vanilla game is so fast that you can't really react to it, and the double bounce can happen very easily too. So, and it's just like you don't even have to aim well; you just kind of shoot whatever, and then it hits. And that's why we kind of reduced, or I reduced originally the projectile speed, so it's slower. And then someone else suggested that we lower the afterburn time as well, so it's shorter, so it doesn't like easily combo as well, or isn't as good as a combo tool as the flare gun is with like the extinguisher, because the extinguisher is of course based off afterburn time, right? So we're using I did 146 there, and I think that's the same for the flare gun. If we shoot a flare and then instantly switch, yeah, it's about the same. So you could basically combo like the iteration we have now, because it has the same duration. You can basically just shoot the ground and then hope you hit something, and then switch to the extinguisher and combo for full damage. And that was kind of the problem with the original too, that it was like the better flare gun for comboing, right?
Yeah, I believe in certain circumstances, yes, just
Yeah.
on top of the displacement potential too.
Yeah,
you didn't have to use
because
air
I'll
blast or
just show
anything.
you what I mean. Like, you could just shoot the ground and then just run up and hit someone for 146. Like so, just somewhere. Yep. So that was that, yeah. But now we
Yeah,
have
so-
Robsan's idea. That was change it a little bit, yeah?
Okay, so do I tell it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so like currently, how do I say this? Currently, what we have in this server right now, like what we have changed, is it like the Scorch Shot like has 50% less damage. Now it also like hits against burning targets, and also it has slower projectile speed. And like, how do I say this? There are some stats for my idea that are not implemented, or like not on the server, because I must have thought that they're like hard coded, so I didn't, how do I say this? Suggest them yet. But like let me bring up my the whole idea for my stuff. So the thing that is missing from the server right now is that or like the version that is on this server that we are on right now, is that like that the Scorch Shot will no longer have the bounce as in the second hit when it hits someone directly, and also it will have no splash damage, or like it will not have the splash that like.
All
just
right, so
people
it's like
have.
only just a push, right? So ideally, your version, you would want it to just shoot and then disappear, and it wouldn't have this bouncing thing and explosion at
Yes.
the end. So in your version, you shouldn't be able to light all of those guys
Yeah.
over there on fire, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And also like, if I remember correctly, like current Scorch Shot, it does some knockback against non-burning players, and then it does when you hit somebody who's already burning, like with the vanilla version, it does more knockback. Like
Yeah. You,
just
you,
in
you can,
general.
you can see that here if I'm like shooting the spy, he goes just up, but if I light the soldier on fire, he goes flying.
Yeah. So like that, in the vanilla version, it does increase damage, or not increase damage, increase knockback against burning players. So what was? I want the Scorch Shot, or like in my opinion, it should be like a fully knockback focused weapon. I guess in that case we should also like make it so it doesn't do any after damage itself. Like I guess maybe. But yeah, the main focus is that like instead of being this half splash half knockback weapon, it will be like this long range knockback that gets increased or like in push force when they're burning, because also like the crits against burning players will also increase the knockback they take because of the damage. Because if I remember correctly, like crits increase the knockback, right? Taken, right?
I mean, that's stats. I haven't touched that.
No, I mean like in general, like like you take much more knockback from a crit rocket than like a normal rocket.
Yes,
I mean
yes.
that kind of way, yeah. So yeah, it will do like some kind of knockback like this when they're what was not on fire, and then when they are on fire, they will take much more knockback because of crits and such. But yeah, that's like my idea.
Okay, so what you're saying is we get rid of the splash, and then it's only like a knockback-based projectile that does 15 damage to targets and 45 if they're on fire, and it crits.
Yes. Like crits is there so like it will have increased knockback.
Yeah, right, so...
And like less damage is there so like the damage they take from the crits is not as much.
I see.
Yeah, that's the point of the crits damage. But yeah. That is the idea.
Okay, what do you other guys
So-
think about that?
So it'd be kind of like the loose cannon with
Well, yeah,
afterburn,
Kind
or
of,
it's
I guess.
more of a displacement tool with
Yeah.
you know killing people kind of as like more of a, I guess without the skill shot mechanic of like a double dunk or whatever, but it's more so just you know keeping enemies away, sort
Yeah,
of thing.
and
As
also, like
opposed
you
to,
can lock people from afar, or like, for example, you can either like push them off cliffs, or yeah, displace them and push them down off cliffs, or then like if you, for example, cannot chase somebody, or like you're too far from them, you can just shoot the Scorch Shot at them from afar or like from longer distance. So like you can push them into a wall or something so they cannot escape as easier. And also yeah, the projectile speed has been made so that like it's, or like how does I would say in my suggestion also projectile speed is same as grenades or grenade launcher, so it's not as easy to like just get a direct hit with it and then like knock somebody back. So it's like it's harder and you need to like, how do I say this? you would need to predict where your enemy is going, and then like
Oops, I didn't mean to kick you guys. Sorry.
oops,
Just come back in again.
but
Oh,
then, like
yeah.
so like it's harder to aim, and you need to predict more where is your enemy going, or like the target.
I see. But it would still have the same sort of afterburn mechanic as it currently does, in terms of like when you hit someone, it's still 7.5 seconds, or is I don't know if that
I
was
feel
one of the
like
change
we
stats.
maybe could make that like maybe we could decrease the damage on afterburn, but like, or I don't know, decrease the afterburn damage or duration, either one of those. So like it will be mostly focused on the knockback instead of like the afterburn.
Oh, alright. I mean, it seems fine to me. I know the big problem with it is how, at least in vanilla, with how fast the projectile speed is and the double knockback, it basically means that a lot of the slower classes don't really have much of an opportunity to, you know, counterplay against it because it's just so, you know, like you can't do anything because it just can hold you back really easily. It also works on Uber, doesn't it? Even if the person's not on fire, like it still does knockback on hit.
Yeah,
Yeah, but,
not much.
yeah, but it's like minimal because it's not, you cannot crits, or like they cannot be on fire when they're Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still, I assume it would still do that as well.
And
it's,
also the vanilla Scorch Shot also has the, like, it removes sticks. And like, it
Yeah.
doesn't say that it does on it, I think. But
Yeah.
it does remove stickies. And the same with the detonator, it also removes stickies. So we have like these two AoE based flare guns that both kind of do the same thing. Except that, you know, the detonator you can use to jump a bit more.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like they're kind of like falling into sort of the same category, but having like a flare gun that is basically just a ranged air blast can be the way to go. For sure, we have to look into that because I don't think there's anyone who will have any major complaints if the Scorch Shot just stopped being the Scorch Shot.
Yeah, I know. A lot of the vanilla hatred for it is just based on the displacement, or the not the displacement, but just the constant reignition and stuff, and
Yeah.
then the displacement kind of being an afterthought with just the constant reigniting.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna, just to showcase what I mean here, I'll disable the current iteration, so now we will have the vanilla version of the Scorch Shot, I think. Just stop killing him, please. So you can see now it does the regular stuff, and you can see the projectile is pretty fast, right? So, could you guys go red? I just want to illustrate a point here of how easy. Don't be anything that removes fire. So just, you know, be heavy or soldier or whatever. Right, and if you stand over there, and then let's say I'm really far back here. If I want to light all of you on fire, you try to dodge, right? So you can see, like, I'm not even trying to hit. I'm pointing sort of where you are, and I'm lighting you guys on fire. And the projectile is just so fast, right? And then I'm gonna enable a Robsense version again. Hold on.
And that's a full flare gun afterburn duration, right? 7.5
Yes,
seconds.
so
not splash.
it's very, and I can just keep doing it from really far away with absolutely no commitment whatsoever. And that's what a lot of people have problems with it. So if we go and do this again, and now we have the slower projectile speed. Now if I try this again, you can see that it's not as easy for me to hit. No, wait, hold on. That's the wrong version. Hold on. It didn't update right. I was like, well, that's too fast. I'm still hitting the shots I wasn't supposed to do. Right, yeah, okay. So now, it's a bit easier to avoid, I would think. But you can see, even with the slower projectile speed, it's like the splash is still very forgiving.
I think that's Robsan's version, isn't it?
Yeah, this
That
is
one?
Robson's version. It's actually, let me check if it's slow. I don't think the projectile, yeah, the projectile is slower than it is in the official balance mod, and you can still see, like, it's pretty.
Yeah. I did have a question
Yeah.
about that GPS.
So you can see you can dodge it now if you're paying attention properly, but we didn't anticipate that the crit thing would do the crit damage of afterburn as well, with
Well, yeah.
the thing
Yeah.
that he did. So
I did have a question about this potential Scorch Shot that Rob Sands proposed GPS.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned we could maybe try messing with the explosion radius. Do you think it'd be possible to maybe test that now in terms of adjusting?
yeah, sure, we can test that. You guys just talk about some shit while I bring that up.
But yeah.
All I really had to say about the Scorch Shot was pretty much that the dual prong nerf was probably like I know it's not nearly as effective as it is in vanilla and balance mod right now, so my first initial thought was either reducing one of the two nerfs it received, since that wouldn't necessarily bring it back to, you know, full vanilla power, but still have it be somewhat useful as a spamming tool and, you know,
Yeah, okay, so it
displacement
works,
tool.
right? We can adjust the range.
Oh, did you make it really big?
Yeah, I made it cover the entire map. I mean, that's what I do to make sure it works, right? So we can reduce it. So
I was gonna say you could probably just make it like one hammer unit or something, so like you have to be standing on top of it to get double ignited.
yeah,
So in
exactly.
theory,
So
has
this
no
is based
explosion.
off percentages, right? So we want 0.1% of the original.
Yeah, like make it as small as possible.
Yeah. So now it's extremely small. Let's see here, and then you can see it.
Wow.
It only ignites what it explodes on, right? So like it doesn't even hit. Let's see if I can bounce this right. Yeah. Like even with this range, it doesn't even reignite this demo man when it landed where I'm standing, right? So we could have it be like AoE, but you can see like the range is extremely small with this. So let's say if we put it at like half the size, we can do that.
I think the
So there we go.
maybe
This is half the size. Let me just reset everything here. So I forgot to check the original version, but let's say if I'm shooting the feet of the heavy, right? This is 50% the range. You can see that I'm only lighting whatever's around the heavy on fire, right? So we can definitely do this and make it still do splash damage, but be a bit less conservative. Because if we change it back to the vanilla, the official version, let's see here. Right, so when I shot the heavy, I forgot how many it was, but like if we shoot the heavy now, you can see I light a lot more on fire. I even hit the medic, I think, and I think someone else fucked up the experiment
might
by
have been me.
shooting. Fucking
I shot the guys on the right. My bad.
yeah, but you can see here, I light these three on fire. So, like even this amount of distance, we can still light the sniper on fire. So it's still a pretty big radius, and it also removes all the stickies within that radius too, which is pretty absurd. Yeah. So what are we thinking, guys? Should we?
Definitely be probably a step in the right direction, especially since I know the other major issue with it is just the easy chip damage lets you, you know, like you said, deny heals, but internals lets you build you know, flog really easily.
Yeah. So the problem is that it's just very non-committal, and you can just build from afar from the safety. Like we see some players who are very passive. They can do this. They just use the rest of the team kind of as cannon fodder, and they just stay in the back and they just kind of like farm flog or banner or something, and then eventually go and attack, just because like you have spammy non-committal weapons. So I do think, because often when it comes to balancing, it's about identifying the right issue, right? So I think the issue with the Scorch Shot is probably the area that you cover with the AoE, and not the fact that like you can push people with it. But it's like this splash area.
Yeah, because it's basically, if you will, it's basically just a grenade that explodes on a surface and then does afterburn too.
Yeah,
but it does
so
so little damage.
I can like
Hit.
I can basically let's see where the range is. So I can hit the scout here and then hit him for 146 with the extinguisher. So that means, let's say if there's a proper fight, right, and I don't have any control over anything, I can just shoot the ground and then whack someone. While as with the flare, a flare gun, you have to be very, precise. Yes. So I think that covers the Scorch Shot. We'll definitely be looking into that and experimenting and finding just a sweet spot, because we still want it to be good, right? It should still be decent to remove sticks, because people are sort of used to that. But it should also be fair and easier to avoid. And easier to avoid, we can just slow down the projectile speed.
Yeah, I don't know if this is making it to the final version, but I did notice the afterburn it was doing, because it crits on burning players, does it not, Robson?
All right, I turned that off. I think it was just
Yeah,
a matter of
okay.
incorrect attribute being used.
Either way, if that is at all staying in any form, it wasn't giving the crit sound notification when you were taking 12 damage per second.
Yeah, there's some issue with that, because I don't think the
Either
game
way.
intended for that to happen. I mean, it's the same thing we have with the healing heater, right? So it will mini-crit players that are burning, but that means this ring is also going to mini-crit for quite a lot.
Because it's mini crits of 30, if I recall correct.
38. It's pretty
Wow,
good.
Okay.
Anyway, that's
Alright.
attributes for you.
Alright, so Scorch Shot was one. The next one we wanted to talk about was, or the next two, which are, like we said, a bit of a combined front there, is the Bushwacka and the Shahansha, and that's mainly due to the bonus melee range they have, at least for the Shahansha, but I also know that the Bushwacka is... Captain Red, do you want to take this, since you know a little bit more about the numbers with it than I do?
The numbers? Okay. So I had a little bit of an issue with the way the Bushwacka has been done, where it's effectively better against 7 out of 9 classes, because the only, thresholds it changes for non-buffed classes are Pyro and Demo Man, which admittedly, it's pretty kind of relevant, because you're gonna have to Bushwhack at Karate Pyros and Demo Knights, but it's still stronger against every light class, against heavies that you would two-shot either way, against medics, I guess. So it feels kind of odd that it's just it's better most of the time than it is in vanilla.
Especially, well, it also has no damage vulnerability anymore when deployed. It just has a damage penalty, but it also has 10% melee range on top of that.
I think it also, if I don't remember incorrectly, it also deploys slower, so you can't hit it as quickly as before. So the combo of just throwing Jarate and then Bushwacka is severely slower, which makes you get a whole lot less kills, because in the time it takes, because the Jarate also has slower deploy time, right? So that makes it so I think a Demo Man or something can get an additional pipe out before you get the first hit in.
If he's piping you in melee range. But either way, the slower deploy is less than 1/10 of a second slower. It's 0.075 seconds of longer deploy on the melee and on the Jarate.
Yeah, so let's do a little check here. If I use this... So this is a little insight to what I'm doing when I'm doing some basic testing, right? So let's see. So I've just given the bots... I'm not... Oh, wait. That's right. The bots don't get... Let's see. And then I have to just... Well, because I don't think the bots get the... Yeah, the bots don't get the proper stats, right? So I think the bot... Okay, so Jarate did. Okay. Let's see. Because in this scenario... Yeah, the Bushwacka stats doesn't work right for the bots for some reason. It's something about the plugin not being able to override old stats, or they're simply just not getting them. Yes, so yeah, the problem with the Bushwacka, I think the Bushwacka needs a rework, because the Bushwacka, the old Bushwacka, was based on the old Jarate combo, where the sniper didn't code himself. And it was also a bit too good. That's why it gave it slightly longer range and deploy time, because to be that of the longer melee range, the slower deploy time it has following the sword thing. But the melee range doesn't really matter that much. It's not that big. So let's see. You need someone on the... Yeah, okay. Who's that? The sniper.
Captain Red right here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me. I'm wearing the
Yeah, okay,
owl.
so I'm just gonna go and use my my kukri here, right? So you just approach me with this thing, just very slowly. All right, so you can see. That's the range. Okay, hold on. So that's the range you can hit me, right? So let's find the. Oh yeah, better if I stand in a corner. Yeah, so just find the max range, right? Yeah, I think that's it. No, that was not it. You gotta space it properly. Yeah, okay, I can't hit you, but you can hit me, right? And then I move 2 steps forward. Like, it's extremely small, that longer range.
Yeah, the difference is like 5 hammer units.
Yeah, it's extremely small.
Yeah, that actually will probably make more of a difference when we talk about the Shahansha, since that one has 30% over 10%, which
Yeah.
means that you can be hitting people
It's
probably
20%.
from like,
Guy with Shahansha, come down here and we can take the same melee range in the corner. So I'll just sit here. I can still hit you.
What the fuck?
Wait, hold on.
Did you change it?
Yeah, I changed the stats to what you told me.
It didn't say anything.
Oh, it has 20% faster switch speed.
Yeah, that's what we switched. Yeah, because we're not using the official, we're using what you gave me, right? So,
Oh yeah, true.
Who did that?
Me, I guess.
okay, let me just deploy the balancemod version quickly then.
While you're doing that, one thing to add about the Bushwacka has the problem that like a few other weapons have, that it is only useful if you use one or like a specific unlock, which is kind of stupid.
You can
But
also use
then-
the carbine, because the carbine.
Yeah, but like
can
if you use the SMG or a backpack, you're kind of just
Yeah, and that's kind of like the core design of why the Bushwacka is the way it is, because sure, it's a combo weapon, but it should also be its own thing. Like, it shouldn't be 100% dependent on other weapons, and that's why it has the longer range. That was kind of like my idea behind it. So now we have, we should have the balancemod version of the Shahansha here with the longer range. So you need to switch class and then back to get the updated stats. So
Right.
I'll use the kukri and
I have the Shahansha.
stand in the corner. So you can see it has longer range, but not by much. If you say it's even 30%, even 30%, it's minimal. I think. Let's see.
The Shahansha says 20% on the site.
Does it say 20?
Yeah, I just checked it.
Yeah, it's 20%.
Oh,
It was 30.
I thought it was 30. That's my bad. It was, okay. So it was 30 before.
Yeah, a long while ago.
Alright.
Okay, so yeah, you can see 20% melee range is actually not that big. I think
it's nearly 10
swords
every.
are 47%, right?
Just about, I think.
Yeah, so if you come down here, and if you use it, okay, I used it in the corner. Yes, you. Sit in the corner, yes.
Yes, your quality.
And do hurt me minus a lot so you don't die. Okay, so. Okay, and then you move towards me, right? You can see that like 37 and 20%, it's not the biggest of deals. Yes. So that's what we have, right? So that's the current balancemod version. It's more bad and more good in the different aspects of the positive and the negative things. So now I've enabled the version that you guys suggested.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, when I did the Shahansha, it's like, well, I need to try something. I don't know what to do because the Bushwacka is just better overall if you're running Jarate, and then if you're not running Jarate, you run Kukri or Shiv, right? So.
But then,
So
like, do
this
I
one-
tell my idea now? Like, on the Shahansha?
Sure, let's hear it.
What it was. My idea with the Shahansha was that, like, the thing about,
Oh,
like,
wait. Yeah, you wanted 20% faster deploy speed, right?
yeah, 24% faster.
Because the value you gave me made it 20% slower.
Ah, oops.
But I'll fix that now.
Maybe.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, so what was the idea behind this change? Because in this change, it does... It's basically the balancemod version, so it's better and worse in the various circumstances, but it deploys faster, so you will get the first swing off before.
Oh yeah, like... What do I say this? The main idea of like the faster deploy speed is that like when you get attacked, or like when this weapon itself gets better, is like when you are already damaged, right? So, for example, if somebody is right behind, or like is flanking you, and then what it was, you are scoped in with your primary. It usually happens to be so that you don't usually have enough time to react to being attacked, I guess. So in my opinion, like the faster deploy will make it so that you will have more time to react, like to people flanking you if they're like on close range to you. For example, like if a scout comes to you and mid shots you, usually you don't have enough time to react to them to their second shot or before their second shot. And then like removal of the longer melee range, like at first I thought it was like something really substantial, or not really substantial but like bigger difference. But like idea for like removing the bigger or like longer melee range is that like it will hold on, it was that the bigger melee range, it will assist you throughout the whole melee fight, I guess, or like if the or hold on, sorry if it's taking a bit time.
I just wanted to say, to me, it makes sense that it has longer melee range, because when I did this in the past, if you compare it to the Kukri, you can say it is actually quite a bit longer. Like, it almost touches the top of your HUD, while as the Kukri, it doesn't even go nearly as far. Like, the Shahansha is, like, touching up here. So I think it having longer melee range works, and the way we balance that is slower deploy time.
But like the thing about like doing balance changes, the appearance, in my opinion, not that good, I guess, because like, for example, or like it doesn't really always, or how do I say this? For example, local load would need to like have 2 shots instead of 3.
I know. But this was just, for the appearance of melee. It's a bit different because, swords are long and they look long, and here they have. But that was just because I needed something to alter the other weapons with something, to make them, try and make them more viable.
Okay. But
because they're not supposed to be better than Kukri, but Kukri is still not really used that much, I think. I mean, it's good with SMG, and it's a 50-50 with the Shiv, depending on how you track spies. But the Shahansha literally sees 0 play.
Oh.
Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
If we're talking vanilla, perhaps, and balancemod, I know a few people prefer it because situations where you are wounded and can go for that melee hit, that extra damage can actually really help, especially if you have something like, SMG or Girardi as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about, like, vanilla melee in terms of, like, backpack or something, but, like, I know at least some people do use it in balancemod, to be fair. Whether or not
because it does like 85 and then 114 with the Girardi, even when they're on low health.
I mean, I use it over stock a lot because at least in balancemod, it's just technically a straight upgrade because you have the same average damage and you have longer range. So,
but it does deploy a little slower.
Did you add that?
I think he said that's what he's going to add.
Oh yeah. Okay, then I would think about it.
I mean, the official balancemod has slower deploy time because it has longer range. That is like one of the melee rules that I follow, right? Because
because right now we have Robsand's version, don't we? Right now.
Yeah, we have the one that has 20% faster deploy time.
Okay.
which I would say make it a straight upgrade because I think the amount of hits. Yeah, okay, because when you're over half health, it takes 3 hits to kill a squishy, and then below that it's 2. Right, because it does 85, and then when it's not 85, it does 46 instead of the 65. So it has a lower low and a higher high. But I do agree, like, the general concept of the Shahansha is a bit confusing, I would say. It's kind of like a bastard version of the Equalizer. Because the Equalizer is gradual, here it's just like 50-50, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, it's step. I've always felt the Shahansha's design is kind of wacky because what it does, it either rewards the sniper for taking damage or punishes whoever he's fighting for damaging him if they get hit by the melee or if he manages to hit them with it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as a soldier, because a sniper, as long as you're like, let's see, if I hurt myself for 64, I should have the weak version, right? No, I can't do math. Let's see if I hurt myself for 60, I get the weak version. And then if I hurt myself for 61, I still get the weak version.
67 would probably be fine.
Yeah.
That would be half.
And then, yeah, something like that. Math. And then you get that. So you have like a longer or a bigger window of low and high damage for the sniper. Was it 67 or is it 66?
62 is the amount.
Yeah, 62. What are you talking about? Dividing 100 by 2?
Yeah.
No, wait, it's not 62. It's probably 63.
63 is the amount for the stronger one.
Yeah, 63. So
you also can
that
use
means
the
if you take a single melee hit from a stock weapon dealing 65, you will have the increased damage.
It also means if you're at 63 health and you get hit by 1 scattergun pellet across the map, you suddenly have plus 30% damage instead of minus 30%.
Yeah, well, if we compare it to the Equalizer, which is, I think that's what they borrow, right? They borrowed the design of less health and more damage from the Equalizer, because the Equalizer at full health does like 37.
It has a formula. I think the balancemod one does. I think when you're at like 112 or 115.
Yeah, we added, so it does like 127. But if you're like at half health, or like under at half health with the soldier,
it does more, I think.
No, it does less. It does less than the Shahansha. The Shahansha does 85, and this one does 81 with the increased 15% that we've given it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but then I'm not entirely sure what the threshold is, but I think like, yeah, like over like 120 and over, it does more. And then he keeps doing more. But then again, soldier is a lot slower than sniper when it comes to melee, so it's very risky, I would say. So, but I'm totally down with reworking this entire weapon into something different. I mean, I don't think just the basic more damage and less damage, because normally when you're doing melee, you usually have your weapon out anyway. Like, the few times you're actually using your melee weapon is when you're low on health, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I can't imagine many situations where you're a sniper at a full health and you're like, man, I need to just melee this guy for less damage. So, your idea was just to make it deploy faster, so it's like a quicker response tool?
Yes, so like you will have like more ability to react to whatever is flanking you.
Yeah, well, it means your opponents will have, or you will be able to get melee damage out faster.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Right. But then we just gotta make sure it's not better at sustained damage than the stock, right? Because deploy time on sniper is something we've been very careful about like giving. I'm also like reevaluating the cleaner's carbine because it might just be better than the SMG at this point, because it's kind of like the Tomislav version of it. And it does give you mini crits on command, so it can be pretty good. So I'm not sure if it needs the faster deploy time. Like if we, let's see if I can use this bot here again. Alright, so, alright, does he not? If I use the SMG, will he then switch? Yeah, okay, I can't properly test it then. Alright, never mind.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like
Yeah, so you had something. I've talked for a long time. You should have whatever you said ready now.
like the reason I like thought why faster deploy speed would be better than longer melee range is that like the longer melee range it allows sniper or like it benefits sniper longer for the melee fight itself or like when he has the melee, while the faster deploy speed it will only like give some kind of benefit when you start the fight, and like you will have more time to react. While the
Oh, no, I wouldn't say you have more time to react. It just means like the weapon comes out faster
Or, like-
and the stream of damage
not-
happens sooner.
well, not more time react, but like you can react faster with like, or like you can you will react to it and you will be able to do damage faster. Yeah, true. But like how do I say this? It also like if for example I'm not sure if this is a good like point or not, but like if the enemy is meleeing you and you have the better melee range, I'm pretty sure that like the longer melee range plus the increased damage, it could like be more powerful than or how do I say this? It could be maybe broken or like not broken, but like it will give more benefit because in a melee fight, if you can be on longer distance than the opponent, like or how do I say this? If you can hit the opponent without him hitting you, you can just like do constant damage with him like missing you, I guess.
Yeah, but sniper's all about range, right? That's like his
Well, yeah,
class distinction to have longer range than the others. So
Yeah, that's with his primary and secondary, but not with the melee, in my opinion.
yeah, why not? He has long range and everything. But that means he can have like longer range and stuff. We can balance out with less damage. Because usually what you want to like space properly. So let's say we're on the same team, right? If I'm using the Shahansha and I'm like playing ranged, I don't want to be in people's faces. If I want to be in people's faces, I'll probably use Bushwacka, Jarati, something. So that means we can like stay here and just kind of like, you know, do footsies, whatever at this range, which is kind of what you want. So I think maybe that's a better rework if we just take the range into consideration and just maybe scrap this more damage, less damage thing, and rather go for like either a slower swing speed or something like that. Because while we can have faster deploy speed, we have to balance it out so it doesn't like lose to the kukri in just pure out fight, right? Because you can start the damage faster. So that means like you can probably finish off weak targets quicker, but if you can't kill them in the first swing, the second swing is going to be pretty late, right? So it's like a one-time thing. What do you guys think about that?
Something like that could be, yeah, I was gonna say something like that could probably be good. I figured in case if you want to give it a bigger range or something like that, you could probably take a look at what some of the Demo Knight swords do and see if anything that they offer in terms of on top of bonus range is even worth
Yeah.
giving to sniper as well. Because like the first thought I had honestly when you said giving it bonus range, I was like, okay, so like the Skull Cutter, because then it's like it's the most simple of the swords where it's bonus range and damage, but it's slower movement speed. So like
Yeah,
something
exactly. We
like
could do something like that for snipers. So that means like you have more mobility to kind of space yourself, but you're able to get the first shot out. But it takes longer because of the slower deploy speed. However, if you're going the opposite direction, if you want faster deploy speed, that means that this weapon has to be weaker because you get the first initial hit first off. So that means like in certain situations like where it doesn't matter if you hit for 65 or 40, right? So let's say I have a scout and, well, he's dead. Let's say just wait for the scout to respawn here. And like a situation, let's say I've been able to land 2 body shots on the scout. If I then go this, it doesn't matter if this thing does, you know, 46 or 26. I would still kill the scout in that one swing. So I think it would really depend on your playstyle and your spacing and how you're using melees, right?
Oh yeah.
Because what that means is that because in your version, Rubzan, you have quicker deploy speed. Like normally, if you're using Jarate Bushwacka, if this is a scout pressuring you, would probably run backwards, like to some corner, pop the Jarate, and then come back and kind of whack him while he can't see you. But here you can actually like you can go backwards and then you can go forwards and then just going for a quick schmack instead. So you go on the offensive instead, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely a good idea because or interesting concepts, I would say, because it opens the opportunities to kind of further brainstorm on what we want the weapon to do, right?
Mhm.
So if we can just manage to very like distinctly describe in simple terms, like basically in one sentence, what you want the weapon to do, then we can work out the stats later. Like, do we want it to be like quick, slow damage, or long range, slow damage, less damage, more damage? Like, what do we want?
Mhm.
Like, what are we trying to solve here? So I'd say the biggest contender for the next topic we're going to talk about, which kind of just basically brushed over, is the Bushwacka and the issue of it being the most prevalent and most used melee weapon for sniper, period.
Yeah.
So even with all the modifications that I've made to the sniper, and I'm always like trying to play the changes that I made. I play with them and I'm like, I'm just gonna use the Bushwacka even though it's worse, and then just keep playing with it. So yeah, let's shift away from Shahansha and more into Bushwacka territory here, and then we can bounce a bit
That's
back and
fine.
forth.
That's fine. Yeah, the only thing I really even had considered about it in terms of changing it is pretty much, I believe, the the thing that you've specifically mentioned, and I believe has been talked about quite a few times, is that it needs something to do that isn't reliant on like mini crits into crits mechanic, because otherwise it means you have to use Girardi, you have to use the carbine, you have to something.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
not just like
yeah. So that's why I gave it longer melee range but slightly slower deploy time. And it's like, well, if you're running SMG and you just want a slightly longer melee weapon, then you can run the Bushwacka.
Well,
and if you want even longer range, you can go Shahansha, right?
yeah, and honestly, the thought I had just based on these two discussions is you honestly could just do both of them like the opposite sides of the same coin. The Bushwacka is the faster deploy, lower damage initially, but if you like, some other stat to maybe give it an edge out without using a mini crit mechanic, and then the Shahansha, the slower deploy, more well-rounded something something something.
Yeah.
Like, because at least then there's a bit more of a nuance to them where it'll be like, oh, I'm going to be in people's faces. Maybe I'm Huntsman, like playing Huntsman Sniper, and I'm going to be like more mid-range. Oh, maybe I'll like the Bushwacka because I can like, arrow someone, then pull it out and, finish it with a melee hit. Or something like that.
And then it also mustn't overshadow the stock or the Shiv.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because
too.
the Shiv has this very clear purpose where it's the best one hit and spy tracker weapon. If you only need one melee hit, then the Shahansha will come out on top, I think.
Yeah.
Like, let me just do this real quick here. And let's... So what I like to do when I do these tests, I will hit this spy with this thing, and then I will hit another with this thing, and then I'll go spy, and I'll just have a look, right? So the spy actually ended up on 44 health, while the engineer only took 60, right? So, but it did take some time. So kind of like the Shiv is kind of hit and run, but it does more damage than the single swing than Kukri, right? But Kukri, if you swing it twice, it's better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like personally, I run the Shiv full time because I'm fighting light classes more often than not, and it's better against them because you can hit them once and then shoot them once with the sniper rifle and they die from bleed.
Yeah, exactly. So this is truly like the hit and run thing. And then we have, of course, the combo weapons, like, because Bushwacka, it has to combo well with the Girardi. However, we could also make it so that Shahansha also combos well, but differently with the Bushwacka or with the Girardi and Gleaner's Carbine, right?
Yeah.
The question is just how the damage are dealt. Is it dealt quickly or slowly or what?
Oh, by the way, I just had this thought of for instance, would it be OP if Sniper had some kind of melee that gave knockback or like push back enemies? As in, like, you hit them with the melee, and then they will be like in this mid range where you can try to headshot them with the primary. Would that be OP? Something?
You mean like the Fanowar, where you hit them and they just go straight up or something?
No, like
high pushback weapon?
No, like like horizontal like knockback onto the enemies.
Oh, yeah.
When you hit them with the melee.
Yeah, I think that would go against the thing, because Sniper is just such a deadly class at long range, and he doesn't have a lot of stuff that can pressure him. So I think like once you get in close to the Sniper, it should be fairly easy to kill him. And that's why Girardi Bushwacka is so strong, especially in vanilla, where like you can just pretty non-committally just be like, I'm gonna throw P and hit you with this melee, and it happens so fast. And the classes that are supposed to be the best in, you know, close range, Pyro, can't kill the Sniper in time with his flamethrower until the Sniper gets, you know, his Girardi out and Bushwackas the Pyro. Because given like there's very few cases where the Pyro will have 100% perfect prediction flamethrower range. So it means like if the Pyro starts shooting the Sniper with the flamethrower as he begins to switch and then bring out the melee weapon, the Sniper's gonna die first, no question. But the Sniper is always moving, you know, jutting and shimming around. And if he moves out of the flamethrower range, he will extinguish himself and then get the Bushwacka. So that's why I like this Girardi nerf that we have, where the Girardi now also coats the Sniper. Kind of solves the issue that we had with the Bushwacka having like damage vulnerability, which we then removed, is because, well, it didn't really show there. Does it? If I throw it, yeah, like this. If this Pyro is burning me, I'll take mini-crit damage. I will die like instantly, and then I don't do nearly enough damage to one-shot him. So I have to like spend more time to either body shot him once. I basically have to do more preparation. Like if I see a Pyro coming, I'll be like, all right, I need to body shot him and then throw Girardi and make sure I don't hit myself, and then I have to melee him. And that gives the Pyro a lot of time to do something about this engagement, where A, he notices that he's getting body shot. 2, the Girardi is coming, which means the Sniper's probably going to be in range, and then you can, you know, position yourself or either reflect it, you know. So, but it has fixed the issue of where you can basically sneak up on a Sniper, and the Sniper has really good reaction time, unscopes, throws P at this floor. He doesn't even know where the Pyro is and just brings out the Bushwacka and just throws him. I'm not sure how many times I've done stuff like this where I'm just like in scope and then just suddenly like this. Now this is a lot slower than vanilla. Let's see if I can do the vanilla version here. I actually haven't.
Would you like how I understand the point stands that like Sniper melee with knockback would be OP, I guess.
Yeah, because you don't want to, you want to reward players for actually being able to go in range. So here's actually the let's see here, just gonna update this. So now I've implemented the old stats, so now it has like, you know, fast deploy time, and you can just see like how much faster this is, right? It's fucking insane. So I think those nerfs were warranted, so we'll just update this again. So now it deploys slower. So you can see like the combined slower deploy time of Girardi, and it's a completely different mechanic, and it's so much slower. Yes. Anyway, I'm doing all the talking again. What's up?
It's all good. I mean, at least what we have now, it's pretty balanced around, like you just showed off. It's like it's balanced around the combo. I think it's pretty much just, you know, figuring out that those niches to fill without really overstepping the kookery. Because it feels like the Shiv is pretty much in a good spot in terms of, like you said, just the best one hit, no strings attached kind of thing.
Yeah,
assuming the enemy will take full bleed. Because I
Definitely.
think the Shiv actually does. Shiv does the most amount of bleed damage in the game, I think,
Yeah.
by like 1 second.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, so I guess it's just figuring out potentially a triangle of you know, the kookery, the Shiv, and then the Shahansha, of being like which one is, you know, like if the kookery is just going to be the base of, like, you know, consistency and damage, like
Yeah.
do you boost the consistency then of like one of the other two, or do you, like, you know?
Yeah, because basically what you do is that you take the kookery and then you just shift the power around.
Yeah.
So with the
Yeah,
Shiv, it's just more on the initial hit and then less, because the bleed resets, right? So if you
Yeah.
just keep swinging at the players and you hit them like 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times. I haven't even I haven't used the kookery all that much because I'm just basically using Girardi Bushwacka, right? But like if I were to kill like this scout, I'm not sure if they have taken damage or not, but I'll fix that now. Like it takes 4 swings.
Yeah.
Because the bleed doesn't do enough damage that quickly, right? To just kill a scout. But if you have a
Yeah.
sniper, it will take 2 hits. Like he will die in 2.
Yeah.
So that's a
Not
pretty good
faster.
example of showing that you've basically taken the power of because you can disengage after the fight. You can just let it do its thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine. But then it's like the issue. I think the Bushwacka is in an okay spot right now because the Girardi nerf that we have where you piss yourself actually it's actually way worse than 20% because you actually take 33% or 34 or whatever mini crits are.
And no fall off. And
Yeah, and there's also no fallout, which means people from range can also screw you over.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty good. So I think with this change, I think the sniper meta is going to change a lot because I find myself in situations where I'm like, I actually, because of the slower deploy time of both Bushwacka and Girardi and that it hurts myself, there's so many situations where like, well, if I do this, I die, right? Like if a pyro approaches me, I can't Girardi Bushwacka anymore. You will kill me. But I can maybe space him with SMG and something else. Like I can kill him before he gets to me. Which is pretty interesting because before it was like, yeah, fuck, I don't care if it's a pyro. I'll run at the pyro. And wait for him to air blast and then throw the Girardi and then whack him.
Where's the range on the Girardi stealth code?
I think we can alter the range, but we've also reduced the duration, right?
Yeah, it's 8 seconds, I think, right?
Yeah,
Or is it
down
6?
from 10, so it has less duration. But I think Girardi still needs to be good, right? If you manage to, because like you throw it and then you don't have it. It's not like the SMG where as long as you have ammo, you could always do damage. Like the SMG is just a fantastic tool which is highly underutilized. It's kind of like the same with the sandwich and shotgun for heavy. It's just that people just aren't using it that much. Because if I land like a quick scope, oh well. Stop damaging them! Don't damage the bots.
To do it to get Crikey.
So like if I'm at a long range and I manage to get like a quick scope on this demo, I can just whip out this and then if I hit half my clip doing this, I will kill him. Guaranteed. So it's boosting the long range. Yeah. So I think like definitely the Shahansha could use a rework to be a bit more clear, because that's what I want when you play the mod or you look at the stats. Like you look at a weapon and you be like, aha, this is what I do with it. And then you look at the like if you look at all of them, you look at Kukri, all right, that's just damage. All right, Shiv, okay, bleed, but half the damage. Okay. Probably you can use it against Spy. And you look at Shahansha, it's like 50-50 better. And you're like, okay. Why? Why would I ever use it? What's the point? Bushwacka is just better. I can create the scenario where it's good myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think that's the crux of it, is just the
Because-
fact you can create the situation. Because I mean, if you look at something like the Neon Annihilator for Pyro can't create the wet situation.
As
as
a pyro,
frequently
you
as
can't create water,
but-
which is why I decided like, well, if you manage to kill someone with this weapon, you get rewarded because it's hard to get a kill with it.
Yeah, but either way, yeah, your point's still made about like Sniper can create the Girardi situation to take advantage of it, especially because like he has 3 weapons that let him do that. So
Because that's also kind of one of the traits that we've sort of tried to remove from the game with the balance mod is these that like items that requires your enemies to do something specific. You have no control over that. And like weapons like that are like prime example for the sniper is like the Razorback. It's like, well, what if the other team doesn't have a spy? Well, you don't have an unlock, which is why, the Razorback got a tiny little movement speed buff. Well, it's like, well, if they don't have a spy, it does something, not just that. And all of the other weapons too does that too. Like the the healing heater. It's like, well, what if they're never on fire? Well, if they're close, they'll die fast.
yeah,
That's like how we fix that.
yeah, and then like the Homewrecker too, or if there's no Spy or Engineer, it has knockback resist. Well,
So it's like exactly. If there's no spy and your team doesn't have an engineer, it's like, well, if I hold it, I can run pretty much wherever I want, uncontested. I don't remember how many weapons are that off the top of my head, but I do remember being very meticulously having a list and having to work through all of this. What did you say, Captain? Go ahead.
Gun on a stick still does that.
Yeah, Sun and Sticks on a list because, yeah, I haven't gotten around to solving that one yet. But yeah, that's definitely like, I would say that's more of a response weapon because like if the enemy team doesn't have a pyro, you don't have to run it. But if they're spamming like fire all the time, then
And then there's an
Cane
inverse
train.
of that concept with the candy cane, where if the enemy team doesn't have a demo man or a soldier, it doesn't have a downside.
yeah, it's just better. But if they do, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And there's the pain train that just only works on offense.
Yeah, exactly. I like. What would I ever do with the pain train to make it good on defense? I can't make it like make the payloads or points uncap themselves faster by standing on it.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I mean, yeah. There's been a handful of ideas for the pain train thrown around in a feedback discussion,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a bit of a problem there for that to be solved. But you know, maybe that can be something we talk about at another point, since I know Quality's probably chomping at the bit to talk about the
Yeah.
Engipads.
Yeah. So just to wrap up here, I just want to
Yeah,
hear everybody's opinion. What do you think we should do with the Shahansha? Let's start with you, Captain Red. What do you think we should do with this weapon?
Alright, I think the Shahansha would like both, because
Yeah,
Bushwacka
sure.
and
We can.
I think the Bushwacka, after the Girardi like self coat, it's probably fine, because you know, it's the combo itself is going to be a lot weaker because you're going to take mini crits. So the fact that the Bushwhack is better against most classes is evened out because you know. But the Shahansha, I don't know. I think it could stand to be completely changed because I don't think the damage, the weird like clutch damage thing is very good. It's too abrupt. It's not very readable.
It doesn't really change that many interactions either. Like, I will kill a sniper in 2 hits, and then if I don't have it, I'll probably kill him in, like, 3.
Yeah.
So,
Like, I can see it being useful in the way that if you get meat shot by a scout, you can melee him and then no-scope him and he dies from that. But it's kind of a really weird stat that I don't really think belongs in general because of how hard it is for people to know what's actually going on. Because unless you're the one who deals the damage or you see him take the damage, you don't know that he has it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you can tell by his face, like, they will make the hurt sound, but if they're doing like I am now, wearing a fucking mask, it's going to be
Yeah.
pretty, and sunglasses, it's going to be pretty difficult to tell their facial expression.
Yeah. It
And
falls
if you
in
have a
line with the-
config or settings that don't let characters make facial expressions,
Well, then you should get a better computer. Yeah, but I totally understand what you mean. That's kind of like why I got rid of the damage resist on heavies, right? Because it's hard to know if they're on half health or not.
yeah.
But-
So I don't know what I'd actually want to do with the Shahansha. I think
Yeah, we basically just have to identify a way we can change the kukri in a way that is new and different, and that is within what snipers should be doing as a class, right? And that helps them in some ways and screws them over in some other ways.
yeah.
So there's many things you can do. Like less damage doesn't necessarily just mean doing less damage. You can alter the swing speed, you can alter the deploy speed, you can alter the range, stuff like that. Yes, McNabb Jam?
Pretty much I'll just say what I already mentioned before, but like simple would probably be better for it, and probably doing something of just making it akin to one of the Demo Knight swords with, longer range, slower deploy time, and then probably giving it some, icing on the cake stat on top of that would probably be okay, because at least then it means Sniper has a bit of a melee utility that, could have some
Yeah.
usage in terms of like playing closer to people without the constant need of reliance on Girardi or Carbine for a setup. So at least that.
I do think like taking a lot of inspiration from the swords from Demoman and maybe like creating something new and interesting, because I think this is the longest sword, right? Let's see, can we get Rob Stein is currently wearing the Shahansha. McNamara, can you equip the kukri?
Kukri.
Yeah, and can you equip the you have the shiv, right? Yeah. So if you just line up here, we can take a look at the different ranges here. You can see that the Shahansha is don't move it. Just stand still. You can see that the Shahansha is actually quite noticeably longer than the others. Shiv is also longer than the Kukri, but it's not as long as the others. Can you, Captain Red, can you switch to Bushwacka? Let's look here. Then I think, yeah, Bushwacka is like slightly longer than the Kukri, and then the Shahansha is like visibly longer. So yeah, definitely something we can do with that for sure. Quality, did you have something to your ideas for the Shahansha?
I just agree with Nam that it needs like a more specific use than you deal less damage, and sometimes you deal more damage.
Yeah. What about you, Robson?
I think I just was, yeah, I kinda scrapping my earlier idea. I don't know what, I don't have any ideas at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's what's good about trying stuff. You're like, oh, well, if it had this thing, and you're like, oh, this breaks it completely. So yeah. Cool. All right, Engipads.
Hey,
Oh boy.
let's start because this is entirely my thing. So, speed pads, I would say are fine. Like, no, they're good for when you don't want to keep up a teleporter. Yes, pretty good. They have a downside of not being an instant teleport. But the thing I think me and a lot of people have a problem with are jump pads. Mainly because, like, there's, in maps, you have, like, high ground stuff, you have routes that are made. You can't access them because they're high up.
Mm-hmm.
You have, like, routes that are only accessible by jump classes, and they're designed to be only accessible by jump classes. And then if you have a jump pad, you can just, I don't know, you can just kind of break the map's balance by letting your entire team jump over something. Like, let's take, like, Swiftwater Third, like the OG Swiftwater, where you can have the stair room, right? Normally you just hold the lower entrance and then you're kind of safe.
We can go there right now, actually.
Right, yeah, sure. That's a good idea.
Better to show and tell. Yeah, I mean, the Engipads have pretty much only received praise, pretty much from everybody, that they're fun to use.
Well, the speed pad.
Yeah, I've seen the pads are simultaneously one of the most well-received changes and one of the most controversial changes, just because everybody likes speed pads and they give engineer a lot, but a lot of people have problems with jump pads.
Yeah. It's not a problem because other people don't know how to use them, or that they even exist.
Yeah, and also it's like, it's only really usable when you don't need a teleporter, because like already some maps are like heightened, like especially like your Barn Blitz last. Okay, let's see here.
Yeah. Gorge comes to mind especially for last point.
Everybody go to like third.
Defense can use that a lot.
Yeah, I know there was a problem with gravel pit with jump pads on B.
Oh yeah, level PP. That's also a really good example.
All right, so
That's one of the
here we're on third.
So right now this door is closed, but normally if you're like blue, you have access to the stair room.
Yeah.
But this door doesn't open with that. That's... Wait, let me. Basically, blue, you wanna go in here, you wanna hold this door, because nobody, like, if you see somebody, people, like, if you go on the top, you can see them from a mile away. But now that you can just kind of jump in casually, then you take out everybody in the room and instantly regain control of it. It's kind of stupid because not really like spending like level 3 teleport. It takes like a while to set up, it takes like 20 seconds, you build it, fully upgrade it. This you just slap it down, you instantly can have your entire team jump up. And I don't know how specifically to fix this, because if you make the jump worse, then it has no use because you can just use a speed pad.
Yeah.
But if you keep it like it is, it kind of breaks everything.
So here's the thing, because this is sounding like a very how to say competitive play-oriented focus response, where they use words like stupid and stupid or cringe or some other descriptive term that doesn't actually display or describe what the problem is.
The problem is that it just...
But what you're saying is that the problem is that you can get an entire team to positions where they wouldn't normally get, right?
Yeah, because like I'm a mapper. Like I know that some places you make them specifically just for soldiers and demos, because you don't like. It's a good place to fight over, but it's not a good place to hold on or a good place to like push from. So
It's too advantageous of a position if the enemy team can reinforce it easily, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't.
Yeah.
And at least to add to that a little bit, quality, the commitment for a jump pad is so much less than the original strategy of what you would have to do, which would be to move your sentry, wrangler jump, build your exit, and then eventually, once that's done, move all your stuff there before teammates could really, like, you know, take that position. A jump pad, you just need one part of it, and then you can touch it, and you're there.
And with jump pads, you don't even have to have the pad on the contested position. You can have it like away from the position in a place your team is holding that lets your team get to the position without the enemies being able to easily actually contest the pad like they could normally spam out the position or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a good example of that is on Gorge Second. You can place a pad in the bottom of the toilet bowl where the point is, and if you
Let's
go
go to
on the pad
Gorge.
and you do the quote super jump, you can jump from the toilet bowl to the high ground
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, I know. So what the jump pads do is that they enable more movement from everybody, right? And that makes defenses harder to both break and harder to defend at the same time, because
yeah,
the
absolutely.
attackers can do the same thing, right?
It's map specific.
Yeah, it's map specific.
Yeah.
So while the
Gravity-
speed pads are pretty much just a slightly better soldier whip, is what it is. It's like the soldier's whip from a speed and then just a minor modifier to make it like slightly faster. It's not that much. So the issue that you mentioned here on Gorge from the jump pads is that this is something a lot of players will do. You will put the jump pad here and then you will just boop,
here.
jump up
Let
here,
me,
and then you can contest this area.
Let me show you another thing I've learned. This is more map specific for Gorge, so you know you can take this as you will, but this is something I typically like to do. If I can actually get this positioning right for this. There we go.
Oh,
You can also do stuff like this, because sometimes maps have these little areas and nooks in the high ground that, like, no one's ever going to get there. But, like I said, Gorge specifically has this kind of thing. Like, I like to jump up here as heavy, and I just sit here revved, and it's just, what do they do? They have to poke through this window, but we have the jump pad still, so, you know, people could take high ground and
yeah. But if
defend
you're
things
up
like
there,
that. But either way.
I
mean,
can't really get headshot. Yeah, but that's pretty good. But I think you can get spammed out easily by a demo.
yeah,
on
you
low
can. If you don't have people reinforcing,
Yeah.
yeah. But either way, that's just as Quality said, it's very map dependent kind of thing.
Yeah, it
It
also
just-
depends on how much pressure the enemy, because the pads don't have a lot of health, so they can get destroyed
Yeah,
easily.
they
And
die really
also, they can be used by spies. Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the double-edged sword here. Is like while you are granting all this mobility, you're also granting all this mobility for the other spy. So my idea with the jump pads were also that, like, yeah, while you're getting all this mobility, you get spies that can abuse that. And because I've gotten some crazy like nest destruction done just because I used an enemy jump pad or speed pad or whatever.
Normally, like it's out like having your entire team able to jump up there outweighs one spy being able to jump up there.
Yeah. So here comes down to like the philosophy issue, right? So it comes down to like an example I bring up a lot, like is this fine? Is this something people just will have to accept that, like, yeah, if you have an engineer, you will have a heavy on the roof. You just have to deal with it. Everybody can do it. It's the same, like,
At least-
same with an Uber. Like
yeah.
a medic spends 45 seconds, and then you get 8 seconds of you just have to deal with whatever we're doing. Are people fine with that? If I use the quick fix, and then someone wants to kill me, like a soldier or demoman, and they jump me, and then I just get jumped away by another soldier, are people fine with that? Can that just be a thing?
I would argue it's the same reason why we nerfed the Wrangler, because like you're not supposed to be able to do like have a teleporter that teleports people infinitely, because that's basically what this is. Like if you have a teleporter down here, and then you have one up here, but you have to kill the one down here. It's kind of stupid because you have to wide peek out of here to kill it, which means
when
that
you're talking about Bal, don't use words like stupid or dumb or cringe or something, because it doesn't describe the issue at all.
no better word.
Yeah, but that, like, that's the point. Like when I need feedback, I need actually to do, like,
Right.
because I haven't been able to fully draw the conclusion of what the issue actually is.
Okay, let me.
It's like, yeah, you can jump to
So
places
you're-
that you normally can't reach, and it's like, well, and It's
Okay, the
I
problem
think
is that normally those places are like designed to give a big advantage because you're sacrificing health to get up here.
Mhm.
Not everybody can get up here, so normally they're a pretty good spot to actually shoot from. Then if you jump everybody up there, it's
okay.
it's like,
So
Yeah.
it's a problem of how. So what if we made it so that whenever you use a jump pad, you lose health?
but you could just have it. I mean, yeah, sure. Actually, that might work.
Because that's how TF2 solves speed and mobility that you use.
Actually,
And we'd have to make it so jump pads are used not by just stepping on them, but by doing another input. Because it
Yeah.
feels kind of weird if you could force your team to lose health walking out of spawn.
Yeah, because that comes into those. How well can you sabotage your team? TF2 has done a very
Yeah.
good job of designing stuff where you can't really sabotage your team. The closest thing we get to sabotage is people putting jump pads outside of spawn, and you bump your head in the ceiling, and then you keep walking.
I think it's easy. Like, just remove the normal jump and have it so you can only super jump by crouching on it. Like, there's no reason to ever normal jump most of the time.
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna say the inverse of that is remove the super jump ability and keep the normal jump, because at least then with the normal jump, at least even if you were looking at something like here, the jump pad has to be here in order to reach the high ground,
Mm-hmm.
and that means it's susceptible to being shot at by enemies from the choke point,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah, I can see
kind of
that.
things like that. Because at least with the super jump, as fun as it is to use that and jump as a brass beast heavy into the enemy team, unlike Swift Water or something, and fly over all the walls and buildings, but like. At least with it only being the normal jump, maybe if just the normal jump was slightly better. I don't know if that's a stat that can be changed
Oh yeah,
at all.
I can alter how high and how far forward you get flung. I can also
If it-
alter that with the super modification thing, so we can turn that
Yeah.
off too. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but
the
like-
jump pads have pretty much been in this state for a really long time because it's like a completely new mechanic in the game, right? Like normally engineers just had teleporters and that was it, and then we have this new thing that gives every single class the exact same jump height. Ideally, we could also make it so that different classes jump different heights. Like Demomen and Soldiers will jump a lot higher than a Heavy, for instance. That's also a different way you can do that. Because right now, it treats every class the same. And the original speed pads treated every class the same as well. Like if you step on the speed pad, the Scout and the Heavy ran just as fast. And that was fixed because, we have experience with speed boosts and how they work. But we don't have a lot of experience or a lot of data or player time based around jump pads, because like when we first introduced jump pads and whenever we see new players use jump pads, they have fucking no idea how to use them. They just put them everywhere and it's like not in a good spot, doesn't jump you anywhere, and they just don't know what to do. But speed pads, everybody gets that. It's like you step on it and then you're fast. So yeah, I do think these concerns for the jump pads are actually quite how to say justified.
Yeah.
And then we could just make a rule and decide, well, this is the max distance you're going to get from the jump pads.
Yeah, because honestly, I feel like if you hit some sweet spot middle ground between the normal jump and then I guess, like I said, the super jump, I feel like that'd be fine. Because at least then it's like, okay, enemies can take this high ground position with a jump pad, but like it's the jump pad has to be more in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, because I can actually change the pads right now.
Actually, okay, I have an idea. I don't know if that's like possible or not. What if you make the super jump just for more vertical, not
Yeah,
more
I mean
horizontal?
that's what I think in one of the earlier tests we did. We had like the super jump just went straight up, but if you jump on it, you get some velocity because that's how the engine works. So just give me a second here and I will find the config for the Engipads.
Also, to mention really quick with that damage on jump pad idea, you also could just remove the fall damage aspect of the jump pad,
as you
if
take.
that's even possible.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's the one
so-
thing I wanted to kind of avoid because that goes within the sabotage part, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, let's see here. So we have different CVARs here. So let me just. So normally the pads are 500 and now it's just 100, right? So you can see.
And that takes effect right away. Yeah. Okay. So that's like no momentum running at it this way.
Yeah, so you get like more up, and then like if we add like a 0 to that, you will have like this momentum where you go like super far forward. So that's kind of like the sweet spot because I think I used a couple of maps just, and then we can also alter the height. as well, because normal height is like 700, but if we change it to like, you know, 300, we can have like barely any jump at all, and then the super jump is going to be really shit. And then we can, of course, put it like to like the highest, where you just go flying super high. So we have a lot of momentum we can change with these for sure. They're very configurable.
Yeah.
I think we should experiment with it.
I think it needs to be done like some sort of survey and just figure out what sort of maps are problematic in particular, and just tweak them so that you can't like reach these areas from certain places. But you know, it's difficult. But I think a lot of the concerns can probably be achieved by just adjusting the height of which you jump. So jump pads can still be fun. You can still have like a super jump, but it won't be as, you know, super duper jump.
Yeah.
Because we do have, let's see. So I will put it back to normal now, and then we have the multipliers. So we have the speed multiplier. I did turn that down a little bit, but I can like turn it down a lot more. So let's say if I do like this, and then you use the super jump, you should barely be moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least that one does. Let's try this one.
I think this would maybe solve it, because now we can't like. Can we switch to gravel pit? Because that's like the best spot to showcase the stupidity, because it's so good on gravel pit B.
Yeah, sure.
Because
So what we're doing now is not as much podcasting; it's just labbing out the different stuff. Yeah, because there's two multipliers. It's the speed multiplier and the height multiplier whenever you're holding crouch. Because I do think like having two modes gives it some kind of skill. You know, it's not just like brain dead. Like, oh, it's just one configuration. It's like, well, you can either hold jump or hold crouch or both to do that. So it was on B. Oh yeah, right. Right, B. So everybody's let's see, here, right?
Yeah, it's the really cringe one.
so you can put the pad down there, but that's really spammable. If you could do this, I mean, actually, I think you can do this, but like
That one.
you can put it like in a really stupid spot.
Yeah, you can.
This,
Jump.
yeah.
Make the
That
jump.
one I think is you have to super jump off this one I think to make it.
No, you don't have to. You can barely. You can just run forward and you'll make it if you crouch at the end.
Actually, I think super jump
Yeah.
makes it that you bump into the skybox.
Yeah, that's
But this
right.
is
Sorry,
stupid,
I got it backwards.
Because
I
it
got
is
it back.
behind cover. Like you can't, unless you overextend and go.
It's not
way
really behind
back.
cover. You can just come on a flank and destroy it. It's not.
But yeah,
it's
but
not well
like,
protected.
but like you're gonna hold here, I assume.
Yeah,
unless-
but then of course it enables spies. A super easy way to get up here, and I think that kind of balances itself out.
I mean, it's one specific way. So you can just
Yeah,
stand
but you can
here.
also do the more secure way of just having the teleporter up here as well. I mean, it's not difficult for an engineer to just wrangle up, jump up here. People have been doing it for
What
so
if you
long.
don't want to use the Wrangler? What if you?
Yeah, I mean, you have it as an option, but like still, like it's fairly simple to do with the Wrangler, I'd say.
It's like, I think you should not be able to jump up here at all with a jump pad. Like,
Oh, I think you should.
or like at least it should.
Because
Like,
you
not
can,
for
you
me.
can achieve the same thing very easily with the teleporter. You can put a teleporter like down here and then up there, and that's it.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
can do that with all
The
of
effort
these
the engineer
spots.
has to go through when the teleporter is destroyed is significantly higher than the amount of effort he has to do when
Yeah.
the jump pad gets
I
blown
mean,
up.
we can also just
Just
lower the health that they have, so they get like destroyed easily because they're so non-committal. I think that's also a needed
They're
change.
already really
Like just a
they're
couple,
already
like
really
maybe like
flexible
just a
now.
couple of rollers from the demo destroys it because they're so cheap and they're so effective.
The problem isn't that they have like high health. The problem is that they're so far out of the way that you have to jump past everything, then into the enemy team just to destroy it, where you will die
Yep.
and then you can
Blown
just
up by one rocket.
build it instantly. I mean,
If I
maybe
was-
you could increase the cost of it to be like 125 or something.
I'm not sure if we can do that easily. But like you can use this on attack too because they build fast, right? So you can just, if you go jag, you can put up a couple of Engipads down here and then you can jump your attackers up here. So it works for offense
Yeah.
too. So you can like,
yeah, if you throw one right there, super jump makes it. Means you can even
Technically,
move it back
yeah,
all
but
the way,
this-
put it like somewhere here. This would probably work actually.
This is way more vulnerable. Just put it here and put it back here.
I'll
It
list-
also forces defense to also run pads so they can compete with offense jumping their people up.
Yeah. And then also standing on this roof is also, you know, like, you can have snipers who pick people off, and like what I want to say about like competitive play is that it's just a very narrow understanding and focus. It's just like, well, the problem is that you can jump on the roof, right? That's the problem. You can jump on the roof. But what does that actually mean? How does that interact with two teams with, you know, 12 players, more or less, running different classes, different configuration, and engaging each other in different ways and different forms? Like, is it really that unstoppable? Is it an unbeatable strategy that is nothing the blue can do about it? Do they just have to deal, or can they just, you know, like I say, just attack whenever and destroy the things? Send a spy up there, sap it, destroy everything.
So, from experience, like even if they have a spy that goes up here, saps everything, you can just jump back and doesn't take that much to jump back, because normally you have to jump back with a sentry gun, level 3, have to build a teleporter, make it level 3, and then by then there's like 30 seconds have passed before the sentry. So.
And there was, Qual, you mentioned this before we started the podcast too, your idea of making pads level-able.
I mean,
I don't know
actually,
if you wanted to
yeah.
go into
I mean,
that.
that would make them not non-committal, but I mean,
Yeah.
for jump pads, think it would be good, because then if you destroy a jump pad, not gonna like instantly have entire team be able to jump back up, or like depends how you make them level. If you make them recharge slower or something.
Well, I think for the pads it's good that they don't have like, I think that it's good that they're non-committal, because they're made to be used in situations where you wouldn't normally run teleporters. That's kind of like the idea. It's like you're defending last, there really isn't anywhere to teleport, or there isn't anywhere to teleport, you just put this up instead.
Well,
And then it's also the fun factor, like, is it more fun than it is unbalanced, or hard to deal with, or something?
If they're gonna be non-committal and not take very much to put up, then they probably shouldn't be that powerful.
Yeah.
Because if it's
So we can also
simultaneously
reduce like the cooldown of it, because I remember I was labbing this with Uncle Dane like way back, and we were running some numbers, and it's basically like the jump pads are like a thing between level 1 and 2 teleporter, I think.
It's 3 seconds, so it's
Yeah.
level 3.
Yeah, 3 seconds. So, I mean, we could just make, you know, the jump cooldown, you know, the freaking 10 seconds, right?
Oh god.
And then
Might be
you
a
have to
little
wait
too
10
much.
seconds before you can jump again, and then they're not that committal. Like, then you have to freaking wait, and then they're suddenly not that good, you know, because then not everybody can jump. It's only one every 10 seconds instead
And it
of
means
one
a
every
spy
3
could
seconds.
probably, a spy could also probably abuse that too.
Yeah,
by just
exactly.
taking it
So
and-
I think the ways about identifying the problem is, like we can do here, we can alter the trajectory, and we can also alter the recharge rate, because speed pads were fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the
Or-
jump pad. So I think like the way you can balance this is just to make them less accessible for everybody. So, but then also you have the you have this thing. All right, so try to use your pad. While I'm sitting on it, try using it. I'm camping it now.
And that's just how teleported priority works. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
change
Like
that.
if I'm sitting like this, no one else but me can use this.
That's
You
the
can try
thing.
all you want. It's always gonna be prioritizing me.
Do that with the regular pad as well. So I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, that does happen with regular pads.
So that's like a way of sabotaging, but
like in general, just like needs to be as
Oh, wait.
good as it is like worth, because put it up past 50 metal takes no like literally like not really, almost no effort to keep up. So good. I think if it was like a longer cooldown, then you couldn't just, you know, if you force them off, then they're not gonna be able to instantly regain that high ground. You can stay on it, you can contest it. But if they all jump down, and then because then they have to wait like 10 seconds between each person. So,
If it were to recharge for 6 seconds, then jumping 3 people onto that ground would take 12 seconds.
yeah,
Yeah.
12 seconds is a lot of time in TF2. So
18.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 5 or 6 seconds is probably okay, because level 2 teleporter is 5 seconds, and if it's supposed to be non-committal, it's probably okay if it has somewhere between a 10-second teleporter and 3-second fast as possible.
What the fuck is happening?
I don't know.
Because Yeah, because 6 seconds at least means, like, again, it's not as quickly deploying people up there. Also, yeah, the speed pad doesn't combine with the jump pad, does it, GPS?
No, the velocity is set whenever you jump, so any additional speed you have is ignored. So it just forces you to have this trajectory.
Yeah, I built an actual telly up here.
I think you get my idea, and we're not. It's a podcast, not a balancing the game live cast.
Balancing the game live cast. Yeah, but it is good to see like the concerns and have a dialogue and just do it, because it just gives a good example of that. Like the players' feedback isn't always representative of what the issue is, right? So I think the issue here is not the fact that people can jump where they want. It's a matter of how often they can jump and how committal it is to, or how easy it is to deny for the other team in terms of health and stuff. So what we can do, we can reduce the health so they die easier because they're very non-committal, and we can also reduce the heights and stuff. So, or like change the super jump to just be really high and not really go forward. So it really depends on what we want. Like, how do we want people to use these, and what should the restrictions be? Because I do think, like as you mentioned now, like having slower recharge time will definitely help that. Because what I wanted in the beginning when we introduced this is to just make them good, make them really good and easy to use. Yeah. And I think we're kind of like at the end of that period now, where Engipads have been largely unchanged for several years, I think.
Yeah.
And then we have had enough time and playtime where people are like, well, okay, actually, you know.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, the health is probably okay. I mean, like, I feel like just having the normal jump as the normal jump is now is okay in 90% of situations. I feel like that mainly comes down to the map design, because not every increased high slope in this game is, I think you said 700 hammer units for the height of the normal jump? Either way.
Yeah, I mean that's just the speed. That's just the speed they're given.
Okay, but either way, like
I feel like the value is 700, right? So
yeah,
the regular jump pad can jump you up on this roof if you crouch from this position, and it's
yeah. I feel like it's a thing where the super jump is just sort of puts it over the top, where in 90% of circumstances that's what you'll always want to do, because the normal jump is so inconsequential at times compared to what the super jump gives you in terms of velocity and in height. So that's where I kind of agree with you, GPS, on the idea of changing the velocity a little bit.
Super jump to be like more, like, because that was the original idea, to have the super jump be like straight up the kind of thing, where it's just like if someone wants, like a sniper, like I do sometimes, just sit here crouched and then just get like a Widowmaker sniper or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, something like that could be good. I mean, having some velocity to it would also probably be okay, just so there is some utility in that, because, I mean, just jumping straight up really high has, like, only sniper is going to be the one to really be able to take advantage of that, unless you, like, crit the soldier or something. But either way, like, that is, at least speaking for me personally, that is, like, the only issue I really see with them. And then
so
the rest
from
of it is
this
just
I can gather
maps.
that we should, for the jump pads, adjust the recharge time to double, so it takes 6 seconds instead of 3, which means you get half the capacity. And I should also be tweaking the jump height modifier for the super jump, so it doesn't go as far. Because we don't want a super jump that's like, you know, this. Oh my god.
Yeah, because like I said, in most map situations, you'll always want to super jump. Like, there's never a reason to do the normal jump, because the normal jump at sometimes is inconsistent. Like here, it works because it is like a 700 hammer unit jump, and it's like just about right. But some other maps, like, it's just barely a miss on some parts of it. But again, that's speaking for me personally.
Yeah. All right. Well, concern noted. Cool. All right. I think that was all we wanted to talk about. We've gone for 1.5 hours, as usual.
That's just about it.
It's becoming less of a podcast and more just like, this is wrong, let's fix it. Okay.
We should just do an entire thing about fixing
Lab and compilation.
Well, it kind of turned into that at the end, just because we actually got to take a look at the pads. I mean, with the weapons and stuff, it's a little bit more talking about what they do, and then eventually getting into that. But
Yeah.
either way,
All right, well, we'll be labbing out the changes we're making to the jump pads, because I think the speed pads are fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's one thing that annoys me, it's when you see the double speed pad at spawn. That's when you know they don't know what's up. All right, well, that was podcast number whatever, 4, 5,
4.
Yeah. It's gonna be 5 next time though.
Oh yeah.
All right, any last shoutouts before we end it? I know Robson has been fucking quiet forever.
Oh yeah, go play balancemod.
Yeah,
That's
play.balancemod.tf. We also got play.bmod.tf now for some reason.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Shoutouts to TeamFortress.tf, the best website in the world.
yeah.
Shoutouts to the heavy bicycle.
Go vote for Nam's heavy bicycle on the creators.tf
Absolutely.
Discord server.
Wait, you
Absolutely.
have a bicycle?
I have the stats and everything on there. It almost made the starboard. It just needs like 2 more upvotes, and then it's there.
You need one. It's
People-
like 20.
people want
Wait,
the
hold on.
bicycle.
I can't. I thought that was just a joke. Wait,
People want the bicycle.
link me. I want to see this.
I guess I can.
I think
So
I
you made the model and everything?
I know I don't have anything made for this. I have the stats written
You have
down.
this? Oh,
That's
the one.
that's
oh, I
been
thought
enough.
you. Okay.
That has been enough to get the attention of 20 plus people.
I don't see it.
Oh,
You link me freaking
It's
communist
really
man.
old.
I started. Now it's on the starboard.
Is it actually?
Yeah,
Ah.
look at the starboard.
Perfect.
Okay. The Belarus.
I
Belarus.
I need to
Press
figure
M1
out.
lets you ride the bike. Okay, so this is a secondary slot. So pressing M1 lets you ride the bike for plus 70% movement speed, plus 40% when riding, extra seat for a friend.
Yes. So you have teammates
Increases
doing
in
you.
speed going downhill and decreases uphill. Okay, very realistic. Minus 80% directional control while riding. Okay, so you can't turn it very well.
Basically.
And then less jump height because you can't jump high. And,
And
then
you're
it
carrying the
deploys
bike with
really
your back.
slowly.
Yeah.
And minus
you
20%.
get less
What's
max
with the 20% health?
You get less max because the bike's on your back, so that's why they know you have the bike. You don't just pull it out of your pocket like the sandwich. It's on your back, so they see it.
Okay,
So
I
that's
like
how
how
you know
Rob's
to
out
have
has
it.
just been inactive and got kicked from the server. Alright, well, we'll see
I'll,
about that bike though.
Oh boy, I'm excited.
Alright, that's a podcast. Bye bye.
So yeah.